Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm the host, Sean Boyce. I'd like to welcome my guest to the show today, Jason Pratt from Life Solutions Group. Hello, Jason. How are you? And thanks for being on the show.
I'm doing great, Sean. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, really excited to talk to you more about productizing services. It's something we've been talking about more and more. So the show in particular is going to talk quite a bit more about that. We talk a lot about products and software and strategy, but in this case, it's going to focus on productizing different types of services. An area where you guys have had a lot of success in finance in particular, but not to steal any thunder from you. I want you to tell your background so that our listeners can become more familiar with you and the work that you do. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and give a little bit of background for everybody listening in terms of your background, what that includes, and more information about how you joined the firm that you're a part of today.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. So I've been in the industry for about 15 years now. I actually got into the industry on the recruitment and selection side, which is interesting, working for one of the larger mutual life insurance companies. So I was with two big life insurance companies prior to joining Life Solutions Group. And the biggest reason why I joined Life Solutions Group was actually the founder is my father, Jonathan Pratt. Jonathan founded Life Solutions Group back in December of 2010. And I was the first hire for him in January 2011. So, quick background on Jonathan. He spent at this point almost 40 years in financial services, mainly on the corporate side of things, training, development. And then he got into working, basically running sales for one of the larger mutual companies in the entire industry. But he had an opportunity to kind of go off and do his own thing. And, he reached out to me and I was really excited about the opportunity. At this point, I think I had been in the industry for about 4 years to team up with my father and do something that we both felt was unique and refreshing to an industry that's kind of been around for a long time and, kind of set in their ways, if you will. So, based on some of the things that he envisioned for the company, I was really excited, and it's been 11 years now, and we've done some really cool things, and our focus is really geared around working with businesses on Main Street, helping them with the problems that they face every day, but also providing financial literacy and support to the employees at these companies as well. So we really focus on two different areas: the group side of things to help the business owner with a number of different challenges that they face as business owners, but then to also do the individual planning for not only the business owner, but the employees that really are the backbone to that business. So, we've really kind of focused over the last 11 years, building the relationships with the right carriers, building the right relationships with the centers of influence who we really rely on to introduce us to the type of clientele that we're looking to help and work with, and really building the right team around us with members of the LSG family. So things are going great, and I'm really excited to dive in a little deeper with you today on some of the issues that you think are important to discuss.
Thank you for sharing, Jason. Background is definitely helpful, and I've heard kind of a similar story arc myself as well too. Both of my own family members, but also others in a position like yours, where kind of entering into an industry that has been, I don't know if stagnant's the right word, but just it's been very consistent over a very long period of time. And as such, it's like there is opportunity for bringing new innovation to market and offering different options for customers in terms of their changing needs as it evolves. And you mentioned your customers, primarily business owners, Main Street, and then their employees as well also. So I imagine quite a bit of what you guys have done. And I'm interested to hear kind of you tell the story next in terms of what type of products you guys have and offer and or have created, in particular in the innovative steps that you've taken to update and bring some of those new options to market, in particular for the customer profiles that you mentioned.
Yeah, so you hear the term holistic planning thrown around by almost everybody in our space, which it's fine, but we truly are an independent financial planning, benefits, and business consulting firm, which means we're self-financed. We don't have any big billion-dollar company paying our bills. We pay our own bills, which allows us to really go to the market, explore the market, and bring the products and services to the client that really meets their needs. And it's not a biased approach where, we work for a certain company and we have to sell a certain product and make it fit. So for us, it really allows us to sit back, identify the challenges and really look at the goals and what the client needs from us. And we come back to the table with real solutions to really help them either live the retirement they deserve, solve a short-term issue or whatever it may be. And the interesting thing is we're put together like a family office. So I'm not, some people might be familiar with a family office, other people might not be, but essentially we're a boutique firm set up as a family office. And what that means is if you're a business owner and you're sitting down with me and we're going through a deep dive into, all the things that matter to you. So we're doing a discovery and, I'm learning about all the different things that your business does, things that are going well, challenges you may have. And let's say that one of the issues you might have is, you really don't like the 401k plan that you're currently on, or your broker for the 401k plan really isn't communicating the way that you'd like them to. Well, right there, I'm going to bring in my 401k team. So we have our own RIA, LSG Investment Group, and we have our own 401k team. So I'm going to bring in that 401k team to help with the issue that the business owner brought up to me at that time. I'm not ever going to try to be all things to everyone. But what I can guarantee to my clients is that I'm going to quarterback the process the entire way. So you're going to have one point of contact, that's me. And we're going to figure out each step along the way who we need to bring in at different phases. So, even down to we have a property and casualty division. So if the business owner happens to own a business and they own the building in the business and they mention that their rates are skyrocketing, they don't really like their broker. Well, I'm going to bring in our specialist on the property and casualty side and see if we might be able to save some money, at the very least provide a lot better service. We have a group benefits department. We have a legal department. We have an estate planning attorney on staff. So when I say family office, what I mean by that is I sit at the table with you as the business owner. We do a discovery. I start to identify areas where, you have some pain points, you have some challenges that I might be able to help out. And I'm going to bring in the resources behind me to help in each one of these different areas by a specialist that does this every day, not by me who's trying to be all things to everyone. We're built on a team model. And it's really the way that this company was constructed. We're built on a team model to provide the absolute best service to that business owner and their employees.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I imagine that your clients have a strong preference for that as well. Also, can you talk a little bit more about some of the products that you guys offer and what that popularity looks like, and then maybe how that has changed over recent years, trending analysis essentially for these businesses or your clients?
Yeah. So without getting into too much of the weeds, I would say that a big trend that I've seen over the years from a product development standpoint is the Index Universal Life Insurance product, the IUL. We do a ton of work in that space, and we've had a lot of success with our clients utilizing the IUL, which when I say it's a trending product, typically you hear about whole life or term, right? Either you're going to get term and, that's all you can afford and you just got it for the death benefit, or you're going to invest in a permanent policy and utilize a whole life. Well, over the years, a lot of companies have developed an IUL, which provides a lot more flexibility in the premium payments, right? You're working off of indexes, so you have the growth potential, which is exciting to a lot of clients. And then you also have the floor zero, so you're not going to lose the investment that you put into this product. So I would say that the biggest product that I've seen over the years that has developed and become super popular is that Index Universal Life Insurance policy.
Thank you for sharing. That's interesting to note. How do products like that for our audience to get a better understanding and how this becomes productized and then packaged and offered to your clients? How does the revenue model for something like that work for the type of policies you're talking about or the new products in insurance? How does the money change hands, and how does how do the clients' needs get met by you guys, and the relationships work with any of the partners and things like that? Can you talk a little bit more about how that works?
Yeah, so typically, the way that these contracts are structured, you sit down with a client, you go through the application. Let's just fast forward. They get their underwriting offer, and all of a sudden we're going to go forward and we're going to issue and get the policy enforced for the client. The client's going to make, whether it's monthly, quarterly, or annual premium payments into this policy. The way that these are structured, depending on the product, you're paying short pays, whether it's a 10 pay or some of these whole life products, you're paying the 65 or even longer. And what you're going to see is you're going to get statements from the company. The company's going to, first of all, we're going to show you projections, conservative projections on what it's going to look like over the length of these policies. So you're going to see, 5 years from now, you're going to have X. 10 years, you're going to have X. 15, 20 years, you're going to have this in retirement, and you're going to be able to pull this amount of money out per year until age 80 or until age 90. So it's very complex because the way that we engineer a lot of these products now, they're really customizable, and there's a lot more flexibility than one would even understand. And this is going to be super high level. And at the end of our discussion, I am going to suggest a book that I think will make a lot of sense for a lot of people that are interested in learning more. But most people think of life insurance as a death benefit product. I'm going to get death benefit. I'm going to buy insurance, and it's just in case I die, my family gets what's left behind. What you're seeing now is a trend where it is really attractive to talk about the living benefits of certain permanent insurance products, right? So you're talking about living benefits of investing into products that you're not going to lose your principal investment. The cash inside of these products are going to grow tax-free inside of the policy. You're going to have the ability to pull loans out of the policy, right? Let's say you want to put an addition onto your house. You can be your own bank by taking loans out against that policy with the cash inside of there, and it's compounding interest inside of the policy. So without getting, again, too deep in the weeds, this is really exciting and interesting things to discuss with clients. And the shocking thing is a lot of clients have never heard of any of this.
Interesting.
The typical client's going to think of, I buy life insurance for the death benefit. I either invest in the stock market or I invest into real estate. What are you talking about? Invest into life insurance? That's a foreign concept. So we spend a lot of time with high earners, successful folks that once we start to educate them and dive deeper into some of these capabilities within the IUL, and I don't want to just focus on IUL because we really do plan holistically. Like I said, we have an investment company. We have the ability to not only work with whole life IUL, but term, disability, long-term care. We do a ton of work in the annuity space as well. A lot of work with fixed index annuities. But the index universal life insurance is a product that I would highly recommend people look into and really do your own research and start to learn about the powers of some of these products. I mean, if you look at banks, BOLI is something that stands for bank-owned life insurance. Banks own a ton of this stuff. So what does that tell you right there?
Right. Well said.
I mean, yeah, when you hear the term BOLI and you hear that banks own a ton of this type of product, that should tell you kind of everything you need to know.
It's got to be something in form, right?
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah, that's super interesting that there's confusion surrounding, well, maybe not confusion. Perhaps it's just people just don't know what else you can be doing with these other vehicles. So it's interesting that you get those questions and then kind of have an opportunity to educate them on it a little bit. Understanding it almost sounds like it's like an alternative investment vehicle. Is that fair, or does that go too far?
Yeah, no. I would absolutely say it is. And again, when you're talking about indexed products, right, there's going to be a cap. So in the years that somebody's going to have a 20% return, well, you're not going to have that 20% return, but you're going to also be playing in the mindset that you also have zero risk of losing your principal investment.
Yeah, it's well said, which is
so you have
a big deal.
Floor. Yeah, you have the floor, you have the cap. And, I would say the average over the last 15 to 20 years has been in that 6.5 to 7.2 rate of return with the indexes. So 7% with no chance of losing your investment, growth inside of the policy tax-free, that's attractive to a lot of people that are not looking to really gamble their money away, right, for retirement.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well said. I imagine when you position it in that way, which is probably, it sounds like not how most are thinking of it, that don't know what you're sharing now, that it starts to look pretty attractive to them when they're considering their options.
Yeah, and the term be your own bank's been around for a long time, but it's really kind of that philosophy, but with newer products designed for high early cash. And it's really not a death benefit play at all. Like one of the things that you'll see done a lot is a hybrid where you say, okay, well, you need X amount of death benefit, but you also want to get X out of retirement. Well, let's do a combo. We'll get you cheap term, and we'll also do, a permanent policy. So you combine the two death benefits. You have the tax-free bucket of growth in the permanent policy, and you know that you're covered for whatever the length of the term is, 20, 30-year term with that number of death benefits. So there's a lot of cool ways to build and construct these type of policies. And we see a ton of this on the executive benefit side of things as well. So if you're working with a business and you're working with that business owner, and let's say the owner has two key employees that they don't want to lose.
Yep.
So they're thinking of ways to keep that employee at the company. How are we going to retain this woman or this guy's services for the next 5-10 years? Well, you can utilize some of these products as golden handcuffs in a deferred comp situation where they can structure a vesting schedule and provide an income later on down the road for these employees if they vest for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever the business decides. So this is a really attractive executive benefit in a deferred comp strategy for a business owner to retain their top talent.
Yeah, that's really interesting as well, too. Have you seen interest and demand for products like that increasing as well also?
Yeah, I would say absolutely. I think that when you look at business owners and you look at, depending on whatever the business may be, how valuable a certain employee might be, they're always looking for creative ways to kind of dangle that carrot and put those golden handcuffs on the employees. Cool. And I do think that I feel like there's a growing momentum of people really starting to identify more towards the benefits, the actual living benefits of these permanent policies. So as I'm starting to hear some of the oldest mutual companies in commercials discussing living benefits. So it's not as much of a secret as it used to be, but it's still in many ways a foreign concept to the average consumer. And
I'm sure underutilized to this extent, right, as well, too. So raising any awareness there is, I'm sure, beneficial for folks.
Yep.
Very interesting.
And, my philosophy when you're sitting down with a client is really try to identify, what are they looking to accomplish? What's their tolerance for risk? How old are they? Based on how old are they, when do they want to retire? And what's that run look like for them? And how much money can they afford to put at risk? And, you might have somebody in their early 30s that So let it ride. I want to invest all my money in the market. I have a 35-year run. I'll ride the waves. All right, cool. I'll bring in our investment team. Our investment team will manage their money and do their best, right? But if someone says to us, this bucket of money, I'm really looking to protect and grow, but I really don't want to lose any of it. And they're talking about, trying to do some tax strategies and things. All right, cool. Now I know we're having a different discussion. But we never go to the table and sit down with anybody and have a preconceived notion of what we're doing at all. It all starts with discovery, and depending on what the client's looking to accomplish, we create the solution. And that's why in the name Life Solutions Group, the solution's there, because our job is to create solutions for somebody's lifetime, no matter what aspect of or what point in their life they're at. Our job is to come to the table with the solutions to help get them to achieve their goals.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing, Jason. I'm curious. One of the questions I have for you is kind of like, what's next for your group in terms of like, what's the current focus? What does growing or scaling from here look like? Any challenges standing in the way of that as well? Also, I'm curious to learn a little bit more about what next steps look like for you guys.
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Yeah. So right now, we're heavily focused in the New England region. With what's transpired over the last 2 years with COVID and people working from home and remote, we have a huge opportunity right now, I feel like, to really kind of extend our footprint down the East Coast. So what we're really looking to do over the next 2 to 3 years is really to develop producer groups in certain areas geographically down the East Coast, and almost implement the Life Solutions Group way in not a franchise, but in that sense. We have everything already set up, kind of have our playbook in place, and we're going to be looking to add leadership and talent in certain pockets down the East Coast. Florida is a state that we want to be in. South Carolina is another state that we'd like to be in. And we have a strong focus right now in the cannabis market too, which is an exploding market that we've invested almost 6 years in at this point, developing relationships with the different insurance companies on the property and casualty and on the life insurance side that'll actually be willing to play in that space. So that's a huge market for us. We're also heavily invested in working with real estate developers and really any business. An ideal business for us is really from that 50-person to 200-person group. That's really kind of where we excel. But yeah, we're in growth mode. To kind of circle back to your question, we're in growth mode, and we're at about 20 team members right now, and I'd love to say in 2-3 years we're at closer to 70.
Love the aspirations and the roadmap you've laid out there too. Super interested to kind of learn more about that. But thank you for sharing. I like the ideas, of course, and it sounds like you guys are on a great trajectory. And of course, thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge with our audience. I have 2 questions for you before we let you go. The first is, are there any resources that you'd like to share with our audience where they can kind of go to learn more about anything we talked about here today, or what you'd recommend other people in a situation like yours to be able to do to also be successful?
Yeah, so I don't know how this is going to show up the audience. I don't know if it's going to be backwards or whatever, but this book, Tax-Free Millionaire, written by Mark J. Orr. This book, the reason why I have it, the reason why I've read it, and the reason why most people on our team have read it is because it's to a T exactly some of the unique planning that we do. He wrote a whole book on it. So I highly suggest anybody out there that's interested in learning more about some of these strategies that we discussed today. He walks you through the mechanics, the way that the products are constructed. He gives some real life examples of clients of his that have invested at different amounts and what that translated into retirement. So I'd highly suggest Tax-Free Millionaire by Mark J. Orr. And then just do your research, but don't don't just sit back and read one or two things that are positive or negative. You just have to educate yourself. And I'm not going to pick just one thing to go to because there's so many resources out there. But I do suggest that book. And then the other book that I would suggest is The Energy Bus. I don't know if you read it, but The Energy Bus to me is amazing. It's 10 rules to fuel your life, work, team, and positive energy. And my wife will laugh when she sees this because I'm one of these guys that's super self-motivating. I believe in that. I believe in a positive mindset will result in positive results. So the Energy Bus basically walks you through really the concept of removing energy vampires from your life. You don't want the people that are sucking all the positive energy out of your life to be in your circle, right? You want to surround yourself with positive energy and really think positive. So those are two books I would highly suggest for anyone that's listening to the show today. Very
cool and great recommendations. Thank you, Jason. We'll link to those in the show notes so everybody can gain access to them as well too if you're listening to the audio version of the show. And last question I have for you is who should reach out to you and how can they get in touch?
Yeah, so two ideal people that should reach out to me would be any business owner that feels like they're overwhelmed with just having numerous amounts of people that they deal with, whether it's 401ks, group benefits, their PNC guy, even HR payroll solutions. If you work with us, and we can work on a national level, we have contracts all over the country. If you work with us, you have one point person. And we'll bring in the resources to help you so that you're not dealing with 5, 6, 7 different vendors. You're dealing with Life Solutions Group, and we're going to work with you and bring in people as needed to help kind of create the solution. And then lastly, on the center of influence side of things, we would love to partner with CPAs. We have a lot of CPAs that we partner with. We work closely with their business clients, even individual clients, and we build strong strategic partnerships with CPAs. So on the client side of things, any business owner that thinks that we could be of value to them. And then on the strategic alliance side, I'd love to speak with CPAs interested in learning more about the work we're doing.
Great profiles. Thank you for sharing and good detail there as well. What would be the best way for them to reach out? Do you have a preferred method?
Yeah, so they can reach out to my direct office line. It's 978-605-5204. And they can also email me at Jason, Jason.Pratt, Pratt, at lsgadvisor.com.
Excellent.
And that's LSG as in Life Solutions Group, advisor.com.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason. Much appreciated. And thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge with our audience.
It was my pleasure, Sean. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Product Launch. I hope you got value out of it. I like to feature product people on my podcast because that's who I love to help. I'm a product strategist, and I can help you scale your business and grow your profit through a product. If you'd like to learn more about how I can help you, email me at sean@nextstep.io. That's Sean, SEAN, at nextstep, nxtstep.io. Or visit my website at nextstep.io. That's nxtstep.io.